It's an honor, Jan and Art, everybody, to be here today. I want to, we saw a little bit of levity, which is great. I want to bring us back to economic reality. And hopefully you have read what the papers say about the state of the European economy, the state of the US economy, I would say the state of the globe. It does concern me as a global citizen that we've got to do something differently because the tipping point of everything seems to be arriving in 2012. Okay? So it is also the tipping point of information technology and all that. I, as a leader, actually did something about it. I actually went out and bought a telecom company, not by myself, of course, with other friends, to transform it into a cloud service provider, very much along the lines of what Stefan was saying. So today I will not show you the theory, right? Because when you put your money where your mouth is, you actually have to show the practice. So we believe very much that there is, and I will be a little bit more radical, that there is a capitulation. Okay? Look at the data. Information technology spend worldwide is down, not up. Telecommunication spend worldwide is down, not up. Economic parameters are down, not up. Why is IT and ICT down? Because it doesn't give the value to the clients. I mean, pause to think about it for a second. How many servers are we selling? How many SAP licenses are we selling? The model is done. It's capitulated. We're at the tipping point. Now, tipping points occur, and then you realize that a little bit later. We are, and thanks to really what Jan has taught me, I understood that the tipping point was coming, and I did something about it. So let me tell you a little bit about my company. It's called CloudItalia. We dropped the Italia. We bought the assets of a telecom operator with 14,000 kilometers of network. Well, why would you want to buy a network? Well, if you're going to build a model where people, small and medium businesses, it's a telecom operator for business, so it's 30,000 clients, which are business clients, so either professionals or small and medium businesses. You have to allow people to make that move. We were talking early this morning about change. Go ask an Italian or a French to put something in a cloud, which happens to be in an Amazon cloud somewhere over the Atlantic. We really don't know where. What laws does it have? How do I get there? So you've got to remove the obstacles. It might be totally irrelevant, but if there is resistance, then you can't get it done. So through this experience, I'm going to be sharing with you the things we have learned. And why is this a new model? First of all, I went from the United Kingdom to Italy. Well, why Italy? Well, talk to me about the ground zero of all problems in terms of competitiveness and productivity. It's a basket case. It's the 42nd country in terms of competitiveness. And therefore, it is the first country. It's a modern country, therefore it's 60 million people, 62 million people. It's a large economy, 30,000 euro GDP per capita. So we're not talking about some African country, even though some of the practices may look like that. It actually is a very large economy. Therefore, if you provide a service, if you define yourself as those who are going to help the competitiveness, it's a huge marketplace. So think of the problem as an opportunity. Because if there is a lot of money being spent, then the question is this money being spent in a correct way? So by putting this offering together, we are trying to address, and we are addressing, a transformation that requires the network, the infrastructure, and the applications. But the other issue we were trying to resolve and to address is, if you're talking to small and medium businesses, the last conversations, they will not understand a word of what we're saying. They haven't got a clue. Why? Because they make pipes, they make shoes, so therefore, you've got to decomplexify it. They haven't got a clue about social networks yet. Even though, in a country like Italy, 70 million people are on Facebook. But think about this, 70 million people are on Facebook, and they're giving, talk about privacy. They're not only telling you who they are, they're telling you what they want. They're telling you their aspirations. So again, the manager of a small and medium business needs someone to go to that makes them feel comfortable. Now, the other thing we have learned, this is another lesson, is who do these people feel comfortable with? With CloudItalia, the big telecom operator. The big telecom operator has eliminated a risk, but it hasn't necessarily endorsed a comfort, because who do they go to? You know who they go to, just like in Holland or in Germany. Giovanni, Hans, Mary, the people they know, the system integrators, the VAR. I'm not talking about Big Shell, of course. I'm talking about the small and medium businesses. And who are these people? They are VARs, system integrators, people that did the software houses businesses, right? Which lived out of a model which is now completely defunct or dying, let me put it that way. So these people, the cloud does not need to be disintermediated. It needs the channels. That's the big aha. So to Stefan, next year, I would like to see the map of the channel, because it's not about the technology. It's about the business. Now, all small and medium VARs in Europe and the United States and all over the world are dying. You know why? Because they haven't got money. Just in case you noticed, no one gives you money, right? Unless it's different here, but it's very difficult to get money. And what do you need money? To buy and resell. And when you resell, you're reselling to a client who's going to pay you on time. They're not going to pay you on time this year. So therefore, all of the VARs, the channels, they don't live on the margins any longer. And they have so what we have learned is we need to make friends with those folks. Okay? So the value proposition is really to eliminate what is harmful, the ICT that is harmful to competitiveness. Now, if people tell me, I was in Italy at a big management meeting with lots of people, and they were crying that we're not increasing expenses. We spent 50 billion euros between telecommunication and IT. How many Google licenses or Cordial licenses fit in 50 billion? A lot. So we're spending them poorly. What is the core problem that we're trying to solve for small and medium businesses? And then I'll tell you how. And it's exactly the same thing. I've done it in less fancy graphics. The world is moving at very fast pace. The consumer, the internet consumer revolution has made the choices easy. So you and I, us, we move very fast. Companies move very slow. Now, why do they move very slow? For all the things we heard this morning, coupled with the IT models. And, we're trying to ask the people that are helping to get the IT model done to do faster, and they haven't got the budgets. So this model is capitulating. Ask how many servers are being sold in Europe this year. And you'll see distributors kind of paling because they ain't going to sell them anymore. Because the cloud is providing a different system. We just have to make this very simple for the small and medium businesses. And the issue in terms of competitiveness and productivity is this last two things. It's the lack of enterprise sophistication, which is a fact in terms of the small and medium businesses, and innovation. So there needs to be a renewal which starts at this moving from CapEx to OpEx, but doesn't stop there, okay, as Stefan was saying. And this is Jan's chart. I love this chart because it's really true, which is the world of small and medium companies, of regulation. How many regulations did we get in the last 6 months? In my country, where I'm operating, 27, human resource regulation, banking regulation, tax regulation, right? Well, that means that businesses have to do something differently. So these are not just markets issues, they're also regulatory issues, there's compliance issues. Are we talking about software? No, we're not talking about software, we're talking about processes. So as the world moves much faster, IT needs to really face up, and we are part of the IT community. right? That we are not moving fast enough as the world is. So what can we do about it? Well, this is another chart that comes back from, and this is, by the way, highly euphemistic, because it says that we are using MOOS, which is maintenance of organization, operation support, and equipment. 75% is just to keep or 66% is just to keep the light on. And only the other is for innovation. The truth is, this year, if you're running it in the same old-fashioned way, it's zero, because the budgets are down. So they've just taken your innovation out completely. And in small, medium businesses, they're starting to eat on your keeping the lights on, because you're going to have to let go of staff. This is not a joke. This is real. This is now. There is a crisis. Not a crisis, a gigantic crisis. And we should not be the Titanic. We shouldn't be changing the deck chairs. We should be doing something completely different. That's what we're doing. And by the way, so I soft is that. But look at this chart. This is an old chart. Again, banks today in Italy, in France, in Germany, $22,000 per employees. That's like doubling the salary of the average employee. So it's not that there isn't money. There is, and we are responsible, we in the IT industry. Okay, so software is dead. What I mean by that, of course, software is not dead. But what I mean by that is that we have to change the model, or there will not be a value in our industry, and it will be coming from completely different industries. Okay? And it goes back to this. The fact that if you have a platform that allows you to do all the things we said about process, big data and all that. By the way, big data, is for, the very sophisticated one. Let's start getting process and major and basic data done. If we can go that way, we can simplify a lot the way small and medium businesses operate. So what CloudItalia is, and we'll show you, is the platform. We're using Cordial. We are using, of course, the infrastructure as a service underneath. That means VMware, Cisco routers, and servers. We're using, and this is truly what we're using, NetApps for storage. And we have created a very easily consumable, highly trusted platform for services. Right? So the first thing is, if somebody wants a platform for a service, we've got it. But furthermore, we have also built on this a apps or business services business that makes it easy for small and medium businesses. And let me show you what it is. So, I'll get to it. But this basically is industrializing the change process of small and medium companies. Because the small and medium companies cannot hire Stefan or somebody else to help them. And by the way, consultants need to be drank on a per drip basis. Therefore, you need something that allows you the value of that transformation to be industrialized and not to be linked to people. And that's what we try to do. So what we have done is use the Cordial platform. Again, think about it. We've got a network service business, right? We have 30,000 customers, which are small and medium businesses, to which we sell connectivity and infrastructure as a service. By the way, infrastructure as a service is just like connectivity. It's a no-brainer, because you take servers and say, instead of putting in CapEx, just virtualizing it. So I'm not even going to comment it. But for a telecom operator, do you know what that means? Do you know what the margin of the telecom business is? 22%. Do you know what the margin of infrastructure as a service business is? 60%, 70%, maybe 80%. So it's very, very high, because fundamentally, I've got large customers. I've got GE, I've got E&I that are saying, take my servers away, please, and virtualize it. And oh, by the way, make me feel comfortable, because you've got the network. I've got 100, you want 100 gig? I've got to give you 100 gig, no problem, of connectivity. By doing that, I'm making it very simple even for large clients. So I'm not even talking about infrastructure as a service. And on infrastructure as a service, I'll give you one more note. Why do people want infrastructure as a service? Why do large corporations? I have GE that is taking their big data center in Florence and putting it as an infrastructure as a service, buying, by the way, we only have 2 petabytes of disk, but we can buy more, right, online. Why? Because they don't know what their data center strategy is. It's a big company. So the best place to put it is someplace where I can move it around really fast. Move it around really fast means I have to have very big networks, very low latency, and I have to have the latest technology like VMware and Cordial. So I hope I have convinced you that on the infrastructure as a service is a no-brainer, and any telecom operator that doesn't do it, you know, they should get an E minus or an F. By the way, in terms of channels, it's the same channel because I can use telecom agents for that. Because selling 100 gig or selling 16 virtualized Java machine, it takes more or less the same knowledge. It's not an application business, okay? Now, let me move on the application side. So in my company, which is 100 million roughly, of course, 90% is what I just described, is infrastructure as a service and the telecom. But the nice 10% is what people are really going to come to us, which is the point about transforming the business. First of all, you need to create Lego blocks. If you're going to have a platform, if you go at the Cordial level, you need to understand that Cordial platform pretty well, which of course is going to be, you know, the specialist. So we made it easy by creating replicable processes on top of the Cordial platform. What are replicable processes? Internet banking process. I can have an internet banking process. I can use it. I can call it. I can link it. And it gives me a set of processes. I can have a credit card closing processes. Or I can link to social network. All I do is I click, whether it's Yammer or whatever it is. And I make it simple for the people. So all of a sudden I say, whether the people are business developers, service developers, or even enterprises. So this by the way, simple thing, paper dematerialization, that's the horrible word, but basically is you have a document and you want to create it into a digital document. Simple things. And you created a repository of this, and you make it available for business developers. Do you know when we presented this, we launched it 30 days ago, this piece? We were hoping to have maybe 150 ecosystem partner. We had 600 system partners coming to us. There was a queue. There was like we were giving money away or something. And why did they come? Well, think about it. Why did they come? Because these people, their other option is to work on a .NET platform or on a Java platform or what have you in a value chain where the value has already been determined by someone else. And they live out of the margin that the people that own the intellectual property allow them to have. What we do instead, think about the value proposition for the partner, for the VAR, for the system integrator, for the software house. I'll give you a piece of the action on, of course, your app. I'll give you a bigger piece of the action on your app, of course. I'll give you a piece of the action on infrastructure as a service, and I'll give you a piece of the action on the network. All three, and I will deliver it for you, and you don't even have to take a euro out of the bank, because all you're getting is a share of my revenues. For how long? Forever. It's a nice word, forever. Because as long as I have the partner, as long as I have the customer paying, they're getting the benefit. It flips everything around. And ask how many telecom operators are doing that. Very few. Because you know what the telecom operator wants to do? I do the relationship with the client. You partner, come back behind me. We flip that. The partner is in front. They're making a certain percentage of the apps, a certain percentage of the infrastructure, and a certain percentage of the network. A certain percentage of the network. Did you remember what I said about the network business in a small country like Italy? 40 billion euros. Let's assume 13 billion are fixed lines. By the way, I'm not speaking about all the inferences on the mobile and mobility, because otherwise I'll stay here for another 2 hours. But it's huge. The second thing we did is we started the full SaaS business. So the business before is the PaaS business, and this is the SaaS business. Now, in the SaaS business, you need to be a surgeon. What I mean by that is you can't be all things to all people, otherwise you'll be nothing to nobody. So instead, what we said is let's figure out some small, medium business markets where there is a lot of issues, and I'll give you an example, invoice management for accounting firms. In Italy, like in all countries, there are CPAs, certified public accountants. They, small and medium businesses, what they do, they bring their, invoices at the end of the month, and they have to post them on the system. And it's a bunch of paper. It's a bunch of invoices. And all accounting firms have a lot of people just shifting the work. With a simple service, they can scan, they can send it via fax, I don't care, via PDF, and all of a sudden the system, linked to an accountant, right, puts them into, of course, their books and does all sorts of services for the tax authorities. So, of course, who loves this? The accountants, the small and medium business, and the tax authorities, because somebody pays taxes, right? So it's actually a nice, easy system. Purchase process. Purchase process. When you're in a small business, what do? You sell, you buy, and you do a little manufacturing. I'm on the sell and buy side. Purchase process, same thing. If I can give you a very simple process where actually I can do the buying, the process of buying, it makes it very simple. For each of these, of course, we've got families of VARs, right, of integrators or partners that understand that business. I cannot send a telecom guy or gal to do that business. So we have 30, 40 partners with this. But I tell you, it's working, because I've been in business now for 6 months after the acquisition, and already 10% of my monthly revenue, 10% of my monthly revenue is based on this and the previous chart, this, 10%. It's a nice amount of money because, I've been in existence as a telecom operator for, since, lots of time. So, in conclusion, it's not just theory. I was at Cordis. And if those of you know me, I really believe in this. And I said the best way is to put your money where your mouth is. And so we did this. And I tell you, in Italy, right now, but I think around the world now, people are starting to say CloudItalia, the model, connection of the infrastructure with a network. Think Amazon. You will not believe how many hits we got from Amazon on our site. Why? Because Amazon hasn't got a network. Amazon Web Services, if Verizon or AT&T goes down, I don't care how good your data center is, right? So all of a sudden, people are starting to say, the operator is starting to say, I got to move to that model. But also the software people are starting to come to us. Big, large software houses are starting to come to us saying, hey, I'm going to move to your model because it's better for me. It's better for my margin. And also, you let me share a piece of your network margin, which is also connectivity, a billing connection to the end customer. So we're moving from a computing-centric world, of course, to a network-centric world. We've been in existence only 6 months since it took me 2 years to acquire it. We're about, just to give you some statistics, we're about 260 people. It's EBITDA positive now. All of my CapEx is financed, all my infrastructure, of course, because what do the vendors want to do? Do you think that Cisco or NetApps wants to sell it to 1,000 customers or wants to sell it through one channel? I am the new channel. Distributors, two-tier distributors used to sell through a VARS channel. They come to me and say, do you have a two-tier distribution model for your cloud service? That's quite interesting. And these people have big money because they are 1-2 billion euros. They're large, even for a small country like Italy. So stay tuned. I hope to tell you a little bit more next year. Congratulations to Cordis. I think Cordis is a jewel, a little jewel. Of course, I love it tremendously. But you need to, because it is such a powerful engine, you need to make it simple for people to use and simple for the VAR community to be able to be used. And hopefully one day we'll have, instead of CloudItalia here, we will have Cloud Europe speak here. Thank you.